right, everybody up. You obviously didn't hear me. I don't know if Steve communicated to you, but this is a workshop, not a seminar. A seminar is where I do the work, a workshop's where you do the work. It's early morning. Let's stretch it out, arms up. Over to your left, over to your other left. Support your back, take it back. Oh, and if you're flexible, touch your toes. Now at Rapport Leadership International, it is customary when someone addresses you to do so in the same manner. Good morning! At Rapport Leadership, we use something called the P scale to grade performance, and let me tell you, that was far from perfect. Good morning! That was better, but I know you've got more in you still. One more time, with enthusiasm and projection. Good morning! Excellent, well done. Grab your seats. Why would I start a workshop on leadership with that? Why is that idiot yelling at us? There's a reason why I use that process. And it's just a reflection. All of the training we do at Rapport Leadership, we use processes to give you more of an intuitive understanding rather than an intellectual understanding. What is leadership? It's about your ability to inspire followers. It's about your ability to bring energy to every situation you walk into. When you walk into the office in the morning, are you the sort of boss that people look up to and say, wow, Jeremy's here, how are you, Jeremy? Or do they put their heads down and say, oh my God, he's here, everyone look busy? You see, what happened there is just an analogy for what happens when you walk in the office in the morning. You put out a level of energy, what comes back? Much less than you put back. You see, then you've got a decision to make, because this is something that's worth writing down. You've got workbooks, by the way, take lots of notes. What you tolerate, you deserve. The standard you walk past is the standard you endorse. If you're prepared to tolerate having low energy, lackluster, bored, tired, disengaged staff, then guess what? You're sending the message it's okay. It'll happen time and time again. And whose fault will it be? Your own. So if you take nothing else from the next 2 days, be aware of your energy level and the interactions that you have. When you get to the office in the morning, it doesn't matter what's happened at home. What matters is you take a moment to check your energy, check your attitude, and walk in there and be the right leader. A leader that deserves great team, to have a team that wants to be a part of doing something important. And I want to share with you today strategies that will help you do that, to be better leaders and to build great teams. Because at the end of the day, there's no such thing as a successful business. There's no such thing as a successful business, there's only successful teams of people. And if you never learn to master that skill, you'll never get the results that you're looking for. When you lead, the world will follow. So, we're a bit washed out here. I was out for a run at 5:30 this morning with my Groodle. Does anyone know what a Groodle is? More polite name for what you might otherwise call a poo retriever or a golden doodle. He's about this big, he's white and fluffy. The thing I love about dogs is they're always enthusiastic. And one of the things I really enjoy about running is it's my opportunity to reflect on where I've come from and look forward to where I'm going to. And I believe at the moment that I get to pretty much lead a pretty amazing life. I live in northwest Sydney, I'm married, I've got 3 sons, 15, 13 and just turned 9. And very much like Steve, I'm batting above my average, got the most amazing wife. I'll share with you a little bit more about her. And I wanted to share with you just a little bit of my story about how I come to stand here today, because I don't think that I have always got to live an amazing life, but I wanted to share with you the process through which I got there. And for me, I was born in Dunedin, New Zealand, and at age 9, my parents moved to Townsville, North Queensland. And grew up there and really didn't know what I wanted to do. And at the end of year 11, I was given an opportunity to go to Sydney for 3 months to do work experience. And my aunt, kindly enough, offered to put me up at her place in Ashfield. And she was in recruitment at the time. This was 25 years ago, and she'd just placed a project engineer with a company called Cytect on a package of $120,000 a year. He was pretty chuffed with that. That was a lot of money back then. So as a thank you, he came to take her out for a couple of drinks, and he pulled up out the front of her place in a brand new, shiny red sports car. I was 17. Do you think I was a bit impressed? We both jumped in the car. We went down to Surrey Hills. We went into a bar. He pulled out his company credit card, and we had 3, well, maybe 7 or 8 rounds of drinks. And suddenly in my life, this was where it really started for me, I suddenly had a vision, and I had 3 very clear career goals. Can anyone guess what they might be? Red sports car? Company credit card? Get someone else to pay for the drinks. Well, that's what the corporate credit card's all about. And a 6-figure income. One of the interesting things to remember, the limits of your vision will dictate the limits of your life. Do you know the 2 biggest causes of depression in Australia today? It's growing more than ever before. Number 1, people have a fantasy about the way life should be. And their reality is not matching up to that. So they feel depressed. Do you know what the second one is? There's no light at the end of the tunnel. Or if there is a light, they think it's an oncoming train. They've run out of vision. When you run out of vision, you'll run out of life. So is it enough to have just vision and goals to lead an amazing life? What else is required? Action, absolutely. What else? A plan, awesome. And one more thing, most important than anything else, education. So when I got clear on my goals, I recognized the part that was missing was actually the knowledge. I needed to go back to university and study engineering. So I did that and then got my first job in Melbourne with a small company, US-based company at that time, and as an internal sales engineer. And I still remember the first day on my job. Who else can remember their first day and their first job? And for me, it was pretty interesting. The boss brought me in, he walked me around, he introduced me to everyone, showed me my desk. He said, there's a book, have a read, I'll touch base with you at morning tea. And about 15 minutes later, a young man came up and he said, Jeremy, my name's David. I'm the other internal sales representative here. We'll be working together. And before you get started, I just need you to know something. And I'm like, sure, what is it? And he said, well, I've been here 3.5 years now. And in about 3 months, there's a position coming up for an applications engineer. And I just need you to know right here, right now, that's mine. Don't even think about it. You see, when you put a date on your dreams and turn them into goals, what gets in the way? Is there any such thing as a straight run between you and your goals? If there is, they're obviously not big enough. You see, the universe will test you to say, how much do you want that? Luckily, I had a plan and I was prepared to take massive action. And my plan was to put in 2.5 to 3.5 hours every night after work to work on my education, to learn the skills required for that next level position. 3 months later, the role came up. I got the job, he left the company. So if you've got a good vision, if you've set clear goals, if you work on your education, you have a clear plan, and you take massive action, you'll get to lead an amazing life, right? Right? Come on, we talked about this. This is a workshop. You'll get to lead an amazing life, right? Wrong. Because there's something that's much more important than all of that. You see, the interesting thing is, this is what's sold to many people as being what success actually is all about. Let me tell you right now, you can have all of that stuff, you can have all of the material things in the world and be absolutely miserable. Money will never make you happy. The habits that we develop, that we cultivate, are the things that help us move forward in life, but sometimes can also be the things that hold us back in life. For me, that habit of hard work and education paid off. After about 8 years, I got a phone call from the US, and they're like, Jeremy, you're the new managing director. We just fired the other one. And I'm like, okay. And they said, you're growing at 4%. We need 20%. You've got 12 months to make it happen. If you've got a goal you're not prepared to compromise on, and you do those other steps, will you frequently get to achieve it? Absolutely. So 12 months later, we had 20% growth. I was working 100-hour weeks. One of my beliefs is that a team that plays together stays together. So one of our rituals as a team on a Wednesday afternoon in summer, we'd all go down the local park and play soccer. And I still remember to this day, I'd just run 40 metres up the field chasing the ball, and suddenly I had stabbing pains in my chest. It was like there were iron bars, and I had to sit down on the ground. Do you know what the first thought through my mind was? Maybe if I have a cigarette, it'll fix it. And I remember sitting there, age 31, 45 now, thinking, is this as good as life gets? I'm the youngest branch manager in the world for this multinational company. We're growing faster than in the top 10% of branches worldwide, but yet I feel miserable. And it was very lucky. One of the things I found is the universe sends us events to help us grow. Do you think that wake-up call, sitting there gasping for breath, was enough to get me to stop smoking? No. What happened was about a month later, I was in the ward, the birthing unit of the Blacktown Hospital. My wife gave birth to our first son. And I still remember to the day this nurse wrapped him up. It was pretty stressful because he was 6 weeks premature, so it took some work to get him happy, and they wrapped him up and they brought him over, and I got to hold him in my arms for the very, very first time, look into his deep blue eyes. And I had to ask myself a question. If he grew up just like me, would I be happy with the man he became? And that's a question that's worthy of every leader asking themselves. If everyone around you was just like you, what sort of team would you have? Your team become a reflection of you. You see, the thing that's missing from this, it's all about purpose. See, that stuff's all about head stuff. Purpose is really what makes the difference. You multiply all these together. If you're not clear on your purpose, if your mission is zero, the outcome's going to be zero. But when you're clear on why you do what you do, it brings meaning, richness, and joy to what you do. So my mission is to inspire and educate people to be great leaders and that they can lead amazing lives. And if you follow this formula, there's nothing stopping you from being able to lead an amazing life too. A great exercise for you would be to grade yourself in each one of those areas. Give yourself a score out of 10. How clear is my vision? Have I set clear goals? Well, you're in Steve's program, so obviously. Am I working on my education? You're here today, so give yourself a great score there. Am I working in those other areas, or am I clear on my mission? That's a big question to ask. So that moment for me, see, here's one of the things to understand about psychology. People will always do more for someone else than they will for themselves. You know, at that time, I was 127 kilograms. I'd been smoking for 15 years. Worked 100 hours a week. My resting pulse rate was about 88. I was having regular chest pains. Did I change for me? We'll always do more for someone else than we will for ourselves. Rapport Leadership as an organisation has been around for 30 years, founded in Las Vegas, Nevada. As an organisation, very clear purpose. It's about building a better world by building better leaders. And this is what's called the ripple effect. If just one of you changes walking out of here, it's not possible for the people around you to not also be affected. What is a leader at the end of the day? You see, a leader is someone who's got that vision of the way things could be and isn't prepared to say, it's too hard, don't have time, it's been done before, prepared to get over their excuses and to step up, stand up and speak up to make things happen. To really make that connection and grow a team, because with a team you can achieve so much more. Our philosophy at the end of the day is all about improving people. When you improve the person, their performance will improve. When their performance improves, it's not just the business that improves, it's also their family and it's also the community.